Hello everyone. In this video we shall look at what are variables, how to define them and how to use them in Python. Variables are nothing but the name or a placeholder to store data. These variables can be modified during the execution of the program. For naming these variables, we should follow the same set of rules that we have seen for naming identifiers. To define a variable, you simply assign a value to that variable. If you are familiar with other languages like C, C++, Java, in order to define a new variable, you need to explicitly tell the compiler what type of data you are requesting. For example, in C language, this is how you declare variables. Observe that there is data type associated with each variable. So you need to explicitly tell the compiler what type of variable you are creating. But whereas in Python, there is no need to explicitly mention the data type to the interpreter. The interpreter is able to detect the type of variable based on the value which is assigned to it. For example, in Python, these three variables age, salary, grade are defined like this. So observe that we have not explicitly mentioned the type of data for each variable, but Python interpreter is able to detect what type of variable it is based on the type of value it is assigned with. Because of this, Python is called dynamically typed language, because the type of a variable can be determined during the runtime of Python programs. Now let's look at some examples. Now we are at the Python interpreter. Let's say I want to define a variable called age and assign it with value 20. What it does is a memory location is set aside for age. Let's say this is the memory location which is allocated for age, and 20 is stored in a different place in the memory. Let's assume that here is where 20 is located, and let's say address of this memory location is 100. So what age stores is the address of the location where 20 is stored. So age will be storing 100. So age is like a reference to this object. So here this is the object and age is just a reference to this object, right? So this is what happens when you assign a value to a variable. Now if I want to print the value which is referred by age, what it does is it will go to this memory location which is here and retrieves the actual value which is present in that location and displays in the output. So if I want to print the value which is referred by age, I can just type age and press enter. We can also print the value using the inbuilt function print like this. Now I can even change the value of this variable. Let's say I want to assign a new value 25 to this variable. What internally happens is it will allocate a new memory location for 25. Let's say the address of this location is 200. Now when we assign this object to this variable, what it does is 200, which is the address of this object, will be stored in this age, in this variable. So age will no longer be referring to this object. Because age is storing the address of 20, which is 200, it will refer to this object. And the memory allocated for this object will be claimed by the garbage collector. Now if I print the value of age, it will display 25 because age is referring to 25 now. We can also check the type of the variable using the inbuilt function type by passing the variable name to this function. Since age is referring to an integer object, the type of age will be integer. And if I want to store a value of different type, I can do so just by assigning that value to this variable. For example, I want to store 25.5 in age. I can do so like this. Again, same thing happens. It will create a new memory location for 25.5. Let's say the address of 25.5 is 300 and 300 will be stored in age. So age will no longer be referring to 25, but it will be referring to 25.5, which is a new object, right? And if I want to print age now, it will display the latest value, which is 25.5. You can also check the type of variable age now. Since age is referring to an object of type float, the type of age is float, right? I can even store a string in age like this. Let's say I want to store 25 in words in the variable age. I can do so like this, and age will be pointing to this object now. Since this object is of type string, the type of age will also be string, right? So the type of variable is determined during the runtime by the interpreter, and it is determined based on the type of the value which we assign it with. Because of this reason, Python is called dynamic language. We'll talk about different types of data in the next video. So that's all about variables.